Welcome back to Les Schwab Tire Center's Outdoor GPS. It's time for Owin's Field Report, sponsored by Les Schwab Tire Centers.
Now, usually the first week of December as a waterfowl hunter is a really good time of year. But with the way the weather is currently and the lack of water that we have here in Zone 1, really not a whole lot to be excited about, quite honestly. Based on the reports that I got yesterday from guys that were actually out chasing them, it was bleak at best in most areas. There was, as usual, one spot here, one spot there that seemed like they were more productive. But the consensus between three dudes that are pretty damn good at it. And what I've noticed in the last couple of days on just some of the ponds that I have to go by to get here each morning on Saturday and Sunday morning, which are now empty, as opposed to just a week ago that had birds on every single one of them, it just seems like a lot of the birds that we had around here have moved on. And that could be for a number of reasons. Warm weather, super cold over on the east side. Well, east side meaning Idaho, Montana, and then everything further over and then south. But then warm weather here and that windstorm, it could very well have pushed them out. Who can say? In the end, I'm going to be out there at least 3 days this week chasing them, but not a lot of optimism. Fishing side of things, though, river conditions are pretty darn good, and getting a sporadic report of a steelhead being caught here and there in the systems that are likely to have them on the coast and here locally. Locally meaning on this side of the Columbia and on the other. Way early for any significant numbers of steelhead, but you might have a little bit of a crossover with some late coho silvers, like I like to call them, and then maybe a winter steelhead kind of mixed in there. This is absolutely, though, the week to start getting your gear together for our winter steelhead season, let alone it just being that time of year. But a lot of deals that are going on at Fisherman's Marine that you can take advantage of to make sure that you're ready to go when winter steelhead gets into full swing, which is literally weeks away. By the 15th of December, I'm going to have the drift boat out. Now, if the bird hunting's good, it might not get used, but at least it's going to be available to take and go out and do a float or two about 2 weeks from now. So there are some things to look forward to. We're just going to have to get through some lackluster weather, and we'll find out from Peyton Major here in just a little bit what that's going to look like. So, Steve, get ready. You might have to head off for a little while. Also, we've got Ken and Mike on the line. We're going to take those calls after we check in with Peyton here in just a little bit. So, in the end, myself, I'm going to be chasing birds again this week, of course, but there are some opportunities out there to chase some fish around, so take advantage of the nice weather, I guess, is a way to put it. I hate saying that, but it's true. Taking a look at the Willamette for folks that are chasing fish on the Willamette. I mentioned this yesterday, the outgoing tide. After I mentioned this a couple times yesterday, got questions about it. The outgoing tide, the reason why you want that for the individual that sent that is you just get a consistent current, right, where your transom's actually downriver and the fish can smell your baits down there. So hence the reason why you want to pay attention to that tide chart and fish the outgoing tide, if you can. And if you have to fish the incoming, you can adjust and find them. It's just a lot more difficult. Taking a look at the Clackamas, yeah, it bounced up a few days ago and now is already on that fall, and it's going to continue to get down around around 12, and then a little bit of a bounce towards the end of the week. And again, we'll find out from Peyton why that is, how much rain we actually have coming. And you can see all these rivers along the coast have fallen into pretty interesting levels. Interestingly enough, like I already mentioned, this could be a really good week to get out there. It might not be as crowded. I say that aluminum hatches happen very, very quickly. But yeah, you've got some very interesting conditions to be working with here. Again, if you're along the coast, you're going to have a little bit of a crossover on different species. Here closer to home, maybe not so much, but still, who would love to catch early December steelhead? I mean, you can't catch them if you're not out there. So if you have the time, the weather's going to be nice. Again, we'll find out from Peyton. I hope that I'm wrong. I don't believe that I am, unfortunately. But there you go. That's what the rivers are looking like, and for me, that's terrible. But at the very least, if you're fishing, not so terrible. All right, Rods and Reels in Need have an upcoming event up in Washington. And one of the points that we want to try to make here is that we want to get the kids out there, right? That's how it's easiest to get the right rods and reels, the right gear to the right kids. This is going on Saturday, the 13th of December. You can take the kids over there. Take advantage of some of the opportunities that you're going to learn, as well as get the gear that you can go out and have some fun, especially if it's not something that you want to or can afford to spend. Because sometimes to get into fishing, that initial cost can be spendy. There's no question about that. And this is a great way to do a great organization. And if by that matter, on that note, if that's not something for you, you can help out Rods and Reels in Need with donations of rods and reels, dollars, whatever it might be. They're always looking for help in any way they can, and they help out tremendously with getting the kids out there fishing and into the outdoors. Get them away from the machinery. Also, win the ultimate tuna adventure. Bruce, this is for you. Full day offshore, up to 6 anglers. You're going to be fishing on the Outlaw. If you're into the tuna fleet out here in the Northwest, you know who that is. You're going to have that chance. That's at the Saltwater Sportsman Show. So make sure you pay attention. Put that on your calendar. February 21st and 22nd. Not that far around the corner, post duck season. So that's usually my window of depression. So doing something fun like that can come in handy, guaranteed. Also, don't forget to send Jason at Procure.com an email. Enter yourself in to win that prize pack each week from Procure. Thanks, Steve and Phil and Jason. Not Jason, but no, I'm kidding. But enter yourself in to win that very real giveaway each and every week. You do have to enter in, though, each week in order to participate. Now, let's check in with Peyton Major and hope that since yesterday that the complete things have gone a 180 and we got rain and cold coming, but no. Maybe not.
So sorry. I'm just the deliverer of bad news today. I'm so sorry. Okay, November recap really quick. 63, warmest day, coldest night 36. We have yet to reach freezing overnight in Portland. We're about 2 weeks overdue. Not super concerned yet. Average temperature was 50 degrees, which would be our 5th warmest November on record if that's unchanged through today, and 4.53 inches of rain, slightly below normal, about an inch. Now we are entering December, which is the coldest, darkest, and wettest month of the year. Sounds about right? 5.77 inches of rain on average, and you can see our sunrise sunset times there on the right side of your screen. We will have our earliest sunset of the year coming up soon, so that will be good news. Okay, first week of December, basically nothing crazy, no extremes. I don't see any heavy rain. I don't see any lowland snow or even mountain snow for that matter, and cold air, it's staying way east, so mainly dry. We've got showers later this week and a couple chilly mornings. I'll show you that Arctic cold. You're probably seeing this all over social media. It is very, very cold out east, and we are just right on the edge of it. The Rockies are blocking that cold air. Also, the Cascades play a role in that. These are our lows tomorrow morning, and again, I think it's going to be our coldest morning of the season so far. Probably mid-30s for Portland. Outlying areas could easily get near freezing in the metro area. So there's our morning lows for the next 3 nights. Nothing crazy. We'll probably even get to the 40s as soon as Tuesday morning, so it's a short-lived little cold morning. 7-day forecast, though, we have a sprinkle or two Tuesday. I've adjusted the forecast a bit because this Tuesday system looks so weak. I hate to say that because we do really need the rain, but really light showers there Tuesday. I think some mountain snow is definitely possible, but it's all just very minuscule. Wednesday's dry. I've got a late shower chance Thursday and some showers Friday, Saturday. And again, Friday, Saturday's not looking super impressive. It's all because we got high pressure to our west. So it's just blocking any kind of major coastal storms from impacting our area. And I did show this graphic yesterday, but it just shows the forecast rain for the next 7, 8, even 9 days. And we're seeing some promising amounts near the coast, about an inch. Same with the coast range, and Cascades, but half an inch in the I-5 corridor. That's certainly not a lot for our wettest month of the year, Owen. So we have some catching up to do. I will say, and I always preface this, December can change in an instant. And so even though this first week is very quiet, it doesn't mean the rest of the month is going to be quiet. So just make sure you have our Fox 12 weather app. We're going to be updating you all through the winter season. Very good. And for the normal person here in the Northwest, they probably love that forecast, but we need the rain. We need the cold for a number of different reasons. Peyton, as always, we appreciate the insight. Yeah. Have a great week. All right, let's go ahead and check in with Mike from Portland. He's got a comment about deer season. This will be a good one. Mike, what's going on?
Let me first of all say happy holidays to you and your family on.
Thanks, Mike. I
appreciate your show. Okay. I'm a lifelong resident and hunter in Oregon, and one of the reasons I love going in the outdoors is there's always something to remember. Well, this year, for the first time, I seen a full-grown adult black bear walk through our camp midday at least 3 times in a week up there. At least 3 times. So he had to be hanging around the whole week. So anyway, I just wondered that that's something I'll never forget. So I've been hunting up there for 50 years.
Yeah. That's, well, you know, we all love the wildlife, and, you know, black bear are an amazing animal. No, there's no question about it. But have it go through your camp 2-3 times, yeah, that's going to make you, that's going to keep you on edge at the very least.
Well, you know, when I first seen him, the camp hadn't got there yet. It was before opening day. Well, he was walking through the camp, smelling the air. Well, I looked down, and one of our hunters, he had an outdoor kitchen set up, and he was cooking breakfast.
Yeah.
The bear was smelling that and headed his way.
Yeah, I've heard of that before. I've actually seen that before. Our camp over in Eastern Oregon 100 years ago had a bear that came into our camp, and we were doing bacon. I won't even tell the story, Kenny, if you're watching, but yeah, it can be a little nerve-wracking. Mike, thanks for the phone call and the story. We appreciate that, sir. I hope that your next season is successful for you as well. Let's check in with Ken from Longview. He's got a question about bar fishing. Perfect timing, because I got somebody that actually might know a little bit better answer for that, but I'll try. Ken, what's going on?
Yeah, I wanted to talk to you about bar fishing. I don't hear you talking about that at all.
Well, I don't fish the bar, Ken. I don't like fishing the saltwater. I am not anti-saltwater, but I am just certainly not a salty angler at all, so I don't even do the buoy 10 fish.
No, I'm talking about Columbia River bars like Lama Bar and Willow Grove Bar and County Line Bar.
Well, I absolutely do fish those. Typically, the only time that I'm going to talk about it is when I'm actually fishing it, which wouldn't be this time of year. But yeah, are those areas that you spend your time yourself?
Yeah, I am late middle age, 84 years old, and so I just retired my boat because I didn't like sitting so long out. I used to live in the mouth of Kellis. But anyway, now I live on the bars and that, and I'm just wondering, I just use a spin globe most of the time. Yeah. And I'm wondering if there's something better. There's so many good things, like some of your sponsors that have so many good things. I watched yesterday and saw all the good knives and that. Yeah. I was really impressed with those. I'm going to pick up some of those. But anyway, if you have any advice on fishing the bars for something to use that I may be missing.
Yeah, great. You know, I love that because I love to fish any of them. Willow Bar. I mean, so many different places that you can go and go plunking and be successful, either out of the boat or off the bank. So, yeah, spin and glow is the #1 bait off the bank, no question. I mean, and for good reason, right? A spin and glow is pretty hard to beat, but some of the things that we started using in the last couple of years, believe it or not, are stuffer baits like spinfish or cut plugs from Yakima Bait or Simon even. Those, even though they're not buoyant, you know, they don't float like a spin and glow, you can actually take and put a small float in front of it on your leader. There's a number of things that you can do to make sure that bait will actually stay up off the bottom. Has become very popular. And there's a couple of reasons for that. Number one, as long as you fish it the right way, you can actually keep it up off the bottom. Again, there's a number of ways that you can do that. But it's the scent, right? Being able to keep those stuffer baits full of scent makes a big difference, and it's become very popular up and down the bank for folks chasing salmon, and for that matter, even steelhead. And oddly enough, for some of the small cut plugs, it was actually very, I'm not going to say very great or awesome bait or something that was super, super effective, but even for sockeye, folks were using the kokanee size stuffer baits, and they were having success on sockeye this year as well. So there's a number of different things to run. I will admit, though, if I go out, typically I'm running a 3-rig setup, right, where I've got 2 spin and glows on the bottom, and I'm sliding down some sort of plug to get into the belly of the line. That's my go-to setup on 99% of the places that I go. But yeah, look for a lot of that to start coming, you know, more when springers start to show up and onward, of course, but certainly one of my favorite things to do. But again, Ken, thank you for the phone call, sir. We appreciate it. And latter middle age is what I think he said at age 84. That's a good way to put it. I like that. All right, we're going to cut to a quick break. When we come back, For the first time in way too long, I've got Bruce Pauly from the CCA Oregon here in the studio. Primary conversation is going to be talking about the barbless hook rule, but I got Bruce here in the studio. We're going to talk about a bunch of things. We'll be back with that in just a minute.
Outdoor GPS is brought to you by Hawken Fishing, perfection in fishing gear, Ocean and the Saltwater Sport Fishing Show, and by Haxton's Canvas and Upholstery, the trusted name of the Pacific Northwest.